Hi guys. At various points throughout the year, we find ourselves in situations where you've got to find 2 points where two functions cross over each other, so they have a shared point where they share some domain and range values. So you got to solve systems. Okay, so right here we have 3 equations, linear equations, graphed in a coordinate system, and so we have 3 points, okay, of intersection, okay, right there, and right there. You can label those points if you want. I'm going to. You don't have to. Okay, so I'll call that point A. I'm going to call this guy point B, and I'm going to call this guy point C. And then I have to solve for those coordinates. Okay, so what about we start with point A? Okay, so point A results from the intersection of y equals 6x and the intersection of y equals negative 1/4 x plus 9. So I can set these guys together and solve for x. Okay, so I get 6x equals negative 1/4 x plus 9. Okay, and then I just got to solve that for my x coordinates. So I'll add 1/4 x to both sides. So that's 6 and 1/4 x equals 9, and then just divide. So that's where you pick up that calculator, and we go 9 divided by 6 and 1/4, and I am getting 1 and 11/25. Okay, 1 and 11/25. Okay, so it looks like that's going to be my y coordinate. Okay, and then I need to find my x coordinate. I need to find my y coordinate. Okay, so we could go right here and find my y coordinate. Y equals 6 times 1 and 11/25. Okay, so I take that and multiply by 6. I'm getting 8 and 16/25. Okay, now I would certainly check to make sure you're getting the exact same thing with the other equation. Okay, so the other equation, okay, y equals negative 1/4 times x, which is 1 and 11/25, okay, plus 9. And you better get 8 and 16/25, or you got a mistake somewhere. So let's check this one out. So negative 1/4 times 1 and 11/25, and then add 9. There you go. Okay, 8 and 16/25. Okay, so we're getting the exact same thing. So we should feel pretty good about that. So point A, okay, here, well, that happens at 1 and 11/25. And 8 and 16/25. And as usual, if you want to write them as improper fractions, knock yourself out. Okay, so let's see, B, okay, right here, that happens when these two lines intersect. Okay, so if I take the 1/3 x plus 5 and set it equal to negative 1/4 x plus 9, I can solve for my x coordinate. So we have 1/3 x plus 5 equals negative 1/4 x plus 9. So if I add 1/4 to both sides, 1/3 plus 1/4, I'm going to get 7/12. So 7/12 x, and then subtract 5 from both sides equals 4, and then do your division. Okay, so 4 divided by 7/12, and I get 6 and 6/7. So if I did everything right, that's my x coordinate. Okay, so I've got to find my y coordinate, so use either one of these. I'm going to use the top one because I don't have a negative sign there. Okay, so I get y equals 1/3 times 6 and 6/7, okay, plus 5. So let's see what happens there. So I take that 6 and 6/7 and times 1/3, okay, and then add 5. I am ending up with 7 and 2/7. And then I'm gonna check with the other one to make sure I get the same thing. So a negative 1/4 times 6 6/7 plus 9, and I better end up with 7 2/7 or I got a mistake. So let's see, negative 1/4 times 6 6/7, and then add 9, and I am getting 7 2/7. So I should feel good about it. Okay, so point B here, my x-coordinate is 6 6/7. Oh, and my y-coordinate, okay, is 7 2/7. So we're good there. Okay, now I gotta do C. Okay, so let's see. That happens when this line, the 1/3 x plus 5, intersects with this line, y equals 6x. So set them equal to each other. 6x equals 1/3 x plus 5. And if I subtract 1/3 from both sides, I'm gonna get 5 2/3 x equals 5. And then I do my division. 5 divided by 5 2/3, and I am getting 15/17. Okay, right there. Okay, so let's see. I need my y-coordinate, so I'm gonna go to y equals 6x, because it's so easy to work with. Y equals 6 times 15/17. Okay, so I take my 15/17 multiplied by 6, and I'm getting 5 5/17. Okay, and I'm gonna check. I'm gonna go to the other one. Okay, so let's see, I use that. I have to use this one, 1/3 x plus 5. So y equals 1/3 times x, which is 15/17 plus 5. And if I did it right, I should get 5 5/17. So I just got to check that guy. So 1/3 times 15/17, and then add 5, and I'm getting 5 5/17. So I should be in good shape. Okay, so my final point of intersection, let's see, it's 15/17. And then we have 5 5/17. Okay, all right, and I've got my 3 points of intersection. We're gonna try another one, see how everything works out. Okay, let's see, I've got this point here, I've got that point there, and I've got that point there. Okay, so I'll just call, you don't have to name them again. I'm gonna call that A, I'm gonna call this guy B, and I'll call that guy C. Now, boy, isn't it nice that we have a horizontal line at y equal 8. So that means every point on that line, including A and B, have to have a y-coordinate that's 8. So I know this is something 8, and this guy is something 8, and boy, doesn't that make life easy. Okay, so let's find A. Okay, so that happens when y equals 8, okay, and y equals negative x minus 6. Okay, so I just get 8 equals negative x minus 6, and boy, isn't that easy. So move the negative x over to become positive, which means I have to subtract 8 from both sides, so negative 6 minus 8 is negative 14. Okay, so I should get negative 14 here. Okay, so we're good there, and I already know that my y-coordinate is 8. Okay, so let's do B next. Okay, so I get this line y equal 8 and this line 5 6x plus 10. Okay, so I set them equal to each other, so I get 8 equals 5 6x plus 10. Okay, subtract 10 from both sides, so I get 5 6x equals negative 2, and then go ahead and do my division. So negative 2 divided by 5 6, and I get negative 2 2/5. So this guy is negative 2 2/5. And boy, it's nice when that happens. Doesn't happen all the time. All right, so let's see. C, well, that's going to happen when these two lines intersect. So set them equal to each other and see what happens. So 5 6x plus 10 equals negative x minus 6. So if I add 1x to both sides, that'll give me 1 and 5, 6x. And then I'd have to subtract 10 from both sides, so I get a negative 16. And then I just do my division. Okay, so negative 16 divided by 1 and 5, 6, and I'm getting a negative 8 and 8/11. Negative 8 and 8/11. Okay, so that's my x coordinate. I gotta go back and find my y coordinate. So I'm gonna use this guy right here. So we go y equals the opposite of x. So it'd be the opposite of negative 8 and 8/11, okay, minus 6. Okay, so that's gonna be a positive 8 and 8/11 minus 6. So that's gonna give me a positive 2 and 8/11. I can do that without even working with a calculator. Now I'm gonna check that. I wanna make sure I got the same thing, so I'm gonna check it here. So we go y equals 5, 6, and that's times my x, which is right here, negative 8 and 8/11, and then I have to add 10. And I better get 2 and 8/11 or I got a problem. So 5, 6 times a negative 8 and 8/11, and then add 10. And I get 2 and 8/11. Okay, so everything matches up. Okay, so C right here, my x coordinate is negative 8 and 8/11. And my y coordinate is 2 and 8/11. Okay, so we're good. Okay, and having that horizontal line really helps out. Okay, cuts out a lot of work over here. Well, the same thing will happen as if you're given a vertical line, okay, which we're given right here. Okay, works out as well. So let's do these guys, and you'll see that vertical line really makes a big difference. I'll call that B, I'll call that A, I'll call that B, I'll call this C. Okay, so let's go after A first. Okay, so if you look right here, A is on this vertical line, so I know the x coordinate is 3. Okay, B is also on that vertical line, so I know its x coordinate is 3. Okay, so we say, okay, how do I find everything else? Okay, so if we look at this guy up here at A, that happens when x equals 3, okay, intersects with y equals negative x. Well, if y equals negative x, wouldn't we get y equals negative 3? Just putting the 3 in there. So I get my y coordinate without even doing anything. Okay, so we just get y equals negative 3. It's about that simple. Okay, and then we come down here. I say, okay, that happens when x equals 3 intersects with this line. Okay, so to find B, okay, couldn't I just substitute x equals 3 in there? Okay, so I know my x coordinate is 3, so I just put it in there and I get y equals negative 1/3 times 3 minus 5. Well, let's see, negative 1/3 times 3, that's just negative 1 minus, yeah, I'm saying 5 and I'm writing 6. Minus 5, so I just get negative 6 for my y coordinate. So this guy is just negative 6. Okay, how easy is that? Okay, then we come down here, C. Okay, that happens when these two lines intersect. Okay, so I get, let's go, a negative 1/3 x plus 5 equals a negative x. Okay, and I'm going to add x to both sides, so that'll give me a 2/3 x, and then move the 5 over to the other side, negative 5, and then I just got to divide. Okay, so let's see, we go negative 5 divided by 2/3, and I get a negative 7.5, like that. Okay, so it looks like right here my x coordinate is negative 7.5, like that. Okay, why am I doing that? My x coordinate. Okay, so we got to make sure y coordinate works out. Okay, so let's see. That happens, okay, when y equals negative x, and that makes no sense whatsoever right there. So let's see, where did I mess up? Okay. I'm setting this guy equal to this guy. That's it. It's supposed to be minus 5. There we go. That's where I made the mistake. Because I'm thinking to myself, this makes no sense. That should be a positive x coordinate. Okay, well that's good. Made a little stupid mistake and found it right away. We all do that. Okay, so let's see, if I add x to both sides, it's 2/3 x, meaning I've had to add 5 to both sides, so this would be positive here, okay, which just makes this positive. Okay, so it looks like, now that makes more sense, so I should have positive 7.5. Well, that is also on the line y equal negative x. Okay, so this should be negative 7.5 for my y coordinate, and let's just check it. Let's make sure I get negative 7.5 here. Okay, so let's see, y equals negative 1/3 times my x coordinate, which is 7.5 minus 5. And let's see what happens. Okay, so we have negative 1/3 times 7.1/2, and then we subtract 5, and I get negative 7.5, which is what I was planning on getting. So we're in good shape there. Okay, so real quick stuff, okay? That'll wrap up the first video.